I want to talk to Terry from Montreal. Terry, we're at the end of the show. You have like 1 minute, maybe two. Go ahead. What's up?
All right, perfect. So perfect. I'm gonna demonstrate Jesus is God with two propositions, and I'll see how you guys engage with that. First of all, Jesus is the author, or God of the Hebrews is the author of the 7-day cycle. And second proposition, the God of the Hebrews predicted the universal application of the 7-day cycle as a demonstration or a sign of his power over all nations. So how would you engage with that?
Okay, first of all, God, first proposition, Jesus made the 7-day cycle?
He's the author of the 7-day cycle. He makes exclusive claims to the 7-day cycle, or the God of the Hebrews makes exclusive claims to the 7-day cycle. Therefore, there's no historical.
Okay, so we use a 7-day cycle because, like, we pick that. Like, yeah, like they use a 7-day cycle, but like, how does that make Jesus God? Because, like, the only reason we use the 7-day cycle is because we all agree to use that cycle. But there are other calendars on Earth that of countries and places that don't use that same kind of system. There are moon calendars out there, and there are calendars, based on other kinds of cycles. So that's just a cultural arbitrary distinction. It's not like a hard brute fact of the universe that there are 7 days on Earth. That's a cultural construct created by people. So I have no idea how that relates to Jesus being God.
How about I help you out? I'm going to, first of all, respond to in 3 points. First of all, every nation kept a different cycle than a 7-day cycle. And it had something to do with religious significance or observances. That's first of all. Second of all, Jesus predicted, that's where the power comes in. My second proposition, that he would submit all nations who kept a different cycle for the veneration of their gods to the 7-day cycle as a sign of his authority over all nations. So I'm right. I agree with you that it has nothing to do with nature. It has to do with the commandment of Jesus Christ in the very book of Genesis, where he created in 6 days, and he Sabbathed on the 7th day. And he said he would use the Sabbath as a sign of his authority to demonstrate that he is sovereign over all nations. So how would you engage with that? Because again, all nations did not decide to keep the 7-day cycle, because all nations kept a different cycle for the veneration of their gods. Romans kept the 8-day cycle for the veneration of the gods. Egypt kept a 10-day cycle for the veneration of the gods. Babylon, the lunar cycle, etc., etc.
Okay, so you are kind of demonstrating my point. Other cultures have used different systems. That was my point. So the fact that most people on Earth use a 7-day cycle, why does that mean that Jesus is God? I'm failing to see the connect there, because God said that we were going to use a 7-day cycle, and now most people on Earth use it. Is that your point? I'm confused.
Okay, first of all, just to finalize, first of all, the fact that every nation kept a different cycle than the 7-day cycle helps my case, doesn't help yours. Why? Because God predicted 3,000 years ago.
It definitely does not, because if all of humanity came from two people, it doesn't make sense that people would switch to other systems just because. And this is a weird argument. I don't understand. So other people use different calendars, and you're saying that's evidence for God because the Hebrews kept using the 7-day. All that means is the Hebrews kept using the 7-day calendar. It doesn't mean that Jesus is God.
No.
What are you saying right now?
Again, I'm trying to keep it as simple without putting too much layers onto it, because you said why were every nation keeping a different cycle? That's established in Deuteronomy 32 verse 8, where God left the different nations with their God.
No,
so they came with their own religious.
I have to interrupt you, because that is your account. That is a religious account of world events. That is not what anthropologists find to be the result. Human beings, according to anthropologists, have been around for several million years. And in that amount of time, Homo sapiens, as well as probably other Homo species, have used different systems of keeping track of time. The fact that the Bible says other people use different ones to worship their gods, that is a religious narrative, and not necessarily true to what's demonstrated by scientific facts.
No.
So that's my.
Here's the problem: is historical accounts support the Bible. You came with a whole anthropology.
Disagree with that too. I think there's a lot of stuff that doesn't match up with the history of the Bible.
No. History. Let's keep it focused on the 7-day cycle and the other religious cycles. The history supports our position that every cycle had to do with the veneration of their gods.
I don't think that's true.
The Christian narrative.
I don't know if that's true. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but I find that very hard to believe.
Give me one example.
I'm not an expert on world ideas of 7-day cycles, Terry. I'm sorry. I can't bring that to you right now. But like, I don't think I agree with you that most calendar systems on Earth probably are because of religious significance. Like, I think that's definitely true. But like, what does that have to do with Jesus being God, Terry? I'm still not getting the connection here. Just because the Bible says, yeah, other people do it. Because I'm losing my thoughts here. Gayle, do you have anything to add? I'm losing it.
Not my field.
My second proposition is something that you never addressed.
No, because I was too busy addressing the first one. I didn't have time. It's been like 2 minutes, Terry. Okay, I can address your second one. Can you remind me what it is? And then we got to wrap this up.
Well, the second one is the most important one. It says that he predicted the universal application of the 7-day cycle as a sign of his authority over all nations. So he predicted it, and he said every nation will keep a 7-day cycle. That is the power.
I'm not familiar with the verse that says that there's a prediction that every nation on earth would use a 7-day cycle. That would be interesting. But Terry, that's not even true. That's not even true. There are cultures on earth that still don't use a 7-day cycle. So that kind of defeats your point.
I'm talking about civic calendar.
Yes.
Calendar, every nation. Give me one nation.
Yeah.
Keep a 7-day.
How about unlocated tribes in the Amazon? Do they use a 7-day calendar, Terry?
Nations, civic calendar. Come on, guy.
So they're not they don't count as nations because why?
They're under a nation. Give me the
remote. Wait, which nation are remote tribes of the Amazon under? Please, I'd love to know.
Give me the name of the tribe and I tell you what nation they're under. Google search it.
No, just because they're geographically located within the borders of a country does not mean they're under the same jurisdiction as a nation. If you look at Native American tribes or Native peoples within the United States, they literally have different jurisdictions with how to treat those tribal communities in the country. There are excuse me, Terry, there are tribal nations that do not consider themselves part of the U.S., although, under jurisdictions they may vary. So this whole point of nations, this is semantics. Okay, we're getting into semantics here. My point is that there are groups of people on Earth that do not use the 7-day calendar cycle. And that it's just a fact.
I need to know the name of the nation, please. Give me the name of the nation that doesn't keep a 7-day cycle. I need it.
Why? So you think if we found undiscovered, if we talk to people who haven't made contact, if we talk to the Sentinels, okay, if we went to the Sentinel Island and they're going to use a 7-day calendar system, if we talk to them, you think that's true?
I said nations. I'm still waiting for the nation that doesn't keep a 7-day cycle.
You just disagree with my definition of what a nation is. That's what this conversation is. I didn't even hear your question. I didn't hear your question.
I said, give me the name of the nation. You said
the Sentinelese people. There's a people group.
Sentinelese, Indonesia. That's in Indonesia. That's a nation. Why are you telling me?
Okay, I've already explained to you why that point doesn't matter. So this conversation is over. Thank you for playing. Have a nice day. The 7-day calendar is not evidence for Jesus being God. And I don't see how his argument demonstrated that in any way. The fact that the Bible says and I don't even know where it says that. If it does say that, I'd be curious to know that every nation on earth would use a 7-day calendar is not evidence of Jesus being God. I don't know what to tell you. It just does nothing to do with it. That's like saying the fact that I'm wearing a white shirt and there's a book that said I was going to wear a white shirt today means that I'm God. That doesn't mean anything. It's just a book. It says something. So I don't know. Gayle, did you have any other thoughts?
I haven't heard that theory, the 7-day week theory that proves God's existence or Jesus is Lord or whatever it was he said it proved. I hadn't heard that before. It sounds like there's a verse in Deuteronomy, something, 7-day week, something. It's a stretch.
It's a stretch. And if that's what's keeping you to God's divinity, I don't know. I feel like there's not a lot going on there in terms of evidence. I feel like you have better lay to that claim using other methods.